Welcome to a closer look at the Hebraic Study. We get into some of the Hebraic words and find out a little bit more depth and clarity so that we can have a better understanding of what we're reading and what God was telling us. The reason I'm wearing a Jewish prayer shawl today is because in a few weeks I'll be talking about the talit. I'll be talking about the tzitzits, which is the fringes on the end of it, and how in fact Jesus actually used them to raise the dead and to heal the sick. So we're looking today at Psalm 23. Now, we often read Psalm 23, and the Jewish people, they read Psalm 23 a lot. They read Psalm 23 three times on the Shabbat. They read it every time someone passes that they know, some funeral. They will read it. And it's very important to them. And it's written by King David. When we are often used to read this Psalm 23, but when we look at it through a closer translation from the Hebrew, the Psalm is even more amazing. Taking it from verse 6, we read in our English Bibles, "Only goodness and kindness follow me all the days of my life," or "Only goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." But when we actually take it and we break it down into the Hebrew, it's ach tov vachest. Now that is so important because vachest means, it just means more. We lose so much from that word vachest when we translate it into the English. We translate it as mercy. It's limiting the name of vachest. Its full meaning is favor, grace, charity, kindness, mercy, benevolence, graciousness. The history of this psalm, written by King David, and this is coming from Rashi. He was a sage in the middle century, and he was a Jewish sage. He was a very prominent Jewish sage. And he comments that David composed this psalm while on the run from King Saul, who was intent on murdering him, hiding in the dry desert, Judean desert of Heretz. And he had no food, he was without drink, was miraculously saved with a taste of the world to come, which is interesting because if it's this world that he saw today, that would not have sort of encouraged him. So there's something better in the future for us. He was nourished with a taste of the world which is to come. He had an NDE, which is a near-death experience. And David gratefully, when he got this nourishment of this world to come, he burst out in song, describing the magnitude of his trust in God. According to the interpretation of the Targum, a Targum is an Aramaic, like Bible commentary. David alludes to how God provided to the Jews every need throughout their 40-year period. They didn't need shoes, they didn't need clothes, they didn't need anything. In fact, and occasionally when they cried out for water, there was always water, there was always food for them available. God looked after them and he taught them great things in the desert. How they will sing, oh, how they will sing when God returns them to their holy land. David sings not just for himself, but for every person. We will end up home, he says, throughout the ages and times of both sorrow and joy. Millions of people gather strength from this heartfelt words, Jews and Gentiles alike. From these heartfelt words that comforted and uplifted them and strengthened their trust in the Almighty God, that God, our faithful shepherd, will never forsake his faithful flock and ultimately will lift up and exalt us in his holy house. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit and learned a little bit more about the word mercy, vachest, which means far more than mercy. It even goes to as far as benevolence. And we must be benevolent to people. We must not just show them mercy, but we must show them favor. We must show them benevolence. We must show them everything that God has showed us. And through that, maybe we can start to nourish them and give them hope. Because in this day and age, there's so many people who are depressed and they need to have the Psalms of David through the authority and the Spirit of the Holy God, Christ. God bless you and thank you for watching. Bye for now.